Once again, my name is Soluwaseun Bankole. I'm a legal practitioner, core competence in corporate and real estate practices with close to a decade of experience. I'm happy to be here this morning to share, some practical knowledge in the real estate industry with you people. And I'm glad that you guys are here. You're on the right track. When I see people interested in real estate, I'm always happy. Why? Is because real estate is the natural wealth that God gives to human with so many options. Whichever entry point you choose to go into real estate, prosperity is sure. So today we're going to be talking about the legal considerations in real estate transactions in Nigeria. Introduction. The purpose of this insight is to analyze the key legal frameworks in real estate transactions, the importance to prevent fraud, ensure compliance, and protect interests. Most importantly, clients' interests. I believe we are all real estate practitioners in one way or the other, either as a company owner, as a partner in terms of sales, or as an upcoming, real estate enthusiast. So let's go to the key legal frameworks. Here we're going to be talking about the laws that guides real estate in Nigeria. We know that the apex law in this country is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. We have the Land Use Act, which is like the general law guiding buying and selling of properties in Nigeria. You can't hear anything like Lagos State land laws. You can only have Land Use Act, which means the only act that is in charge of real estate in this country is the Land Use Act. They have the property and conveyancing laws at the state level. Registration of title, which has to do with when you want to register your governor's consent, your C of O, and all that. That's what that one caters to. Registration of titles law, tenancy laws. We are all tenants here. I'm a tenant. I don't know if we have landlords here, but majority of us in Lagos, we are all tenants. So the tenancy law helps us to understand the relationship between ourselves and the landlord, what rights we have as tenants, and the rights our landlord has, over us. Then, Urban and Regional Planning Act deals with the layout. I think some couple of months back, something happened on the island when Lagos State sent, notices to people that your estate is not, that they want to maybe demolish or something about an estate because there's no proper layout. Urban and Regional Planning Act deals with how real estate should be used. You can't just buy plots of land and you start selling to people without proper planning in consonance with what the state government or the federal government has the intention of doing, with such land. So these are the laws that we are going to be relying on moving forward. So now, the next one is us understanding types of land titles in Nigeria. We have a couple of them. I've been able to highlight 6 of them here. Then I'm going to explain each and every one of them one after the other. So the first one, which is like the apex title document in Nigeria, is the C of O, which means, let's quickly take a brain drill. What is the meaning of C of O? Why certificate of occupancy? Why not ownership? At least when you buy a land, you own it now, right? So why occupancy? You're supposed to be the owner of the land. Before the Land Use Act of 1978, people own land. You have families, communities, the first settlers, people that must have one or two wars, owning a place, having settled in for decades. They claim ownership to that land and they own it. But then transferring of ownership of land became a problem because families can sell to as many people as possible. There are so many frauds in real estate, and it was causing a lot of issues and chaos in the community and the country at large. So Land Use Act came as the rescue act to regularize and properly manage transfer of land in Nigeria. After then, there was certificate. Before then, there was certificates of ownership, but afterwards, it became certificate of occupancy, meaning all lands belongs to the government. All lands in Lagos State are being held in trust by the governor of the state. That is why we have C of O, governor's consent, and other documents when it comes to land transactions. As you said, in Nigeria, you have the right to own a piece of land for 99 years, subject to renewal. But up till now, we don't know the procedure for renewal, simply because from 1978 till now, it's not up to 99 years. So that renewal has not been tested. We don't know what shape it is going to take. But you're correct on C of certificate of occupancy. Now let's go into when you need a certificate of occupancy, because all documents here, they have their own peculiarity. Let's say, for instance, the land that belongs to a community that has never been registered with the government before, you want to proceed and buy sale, and the family is yet to apply for C of O. You will be the one to apply for C of O and get it from the government. C of O is the relationship or the agreement between you and the government to use a particular piece of land for a period of 99 years, subject to renewal. So when your land does not have any document and you are buying directly from the family or the first settler or people who own this land in one way or the other, what you are going to go for is the certificate of occupancy. So government can recognize your interest in that property. Now, I think 3-4 months ago, some demolitions happened on the island, and people were saying we got approval from the government and all that. Government can come and take your land for overriding public interest, and you are entitled to compensation. But people go around and say that they've collected my land, but have not been compensated. This is the reason. When you have a piece of land and you don't have a registration perfect with the government does not recognize you as the owner of that land. So if you buy a land from the government and you choose not to perfect your title, and the government comes after you and they tell you, we want to use your land for overriding public interest, you have to submit that land to them. You don't even have a choice. But when it's time for you to ask for your compensation, you will not be able to get anything because government does not recognize you as the owner of the land because you don't have a C of O or any registered title. So I hope we now understand when you need a C of O, why you need a C of O from the government. So we'll move to the next question, the next one, which is the deed of assignment. Deed of assignment is a document ascertaining transfer of title or property from one party to the other. Your land may not have C of O, but you can still use the assignment to transfer your interest in that land to another party. Deed of assignment contains the consideration, that is the value you're paying in exchange for this land, the parties involved, Mr. ABC being the assignee, then also the assignor, the two parties involved. You can have as many parties as possible so far they fulfill the purpose of assignee and assignor. So what does deed of assignment, what does it do? It helps you know the parties involved, the price paid, the exact location of the land, and the extent of interest transferred from one party to the other. Let's say I have 5 plots of land and you are interested in a plot of land and have a deed of assignment. The job of the deed of assignment is to communicate the exact position of what we are doing. Communicate the survey plan, whether provisional survey or registered survey, to describe the whole transaction, if there are liability on this property, and I feel like communicating it to you. It is through that deed of assignment that you will know. If I have registered survey, if I have C of O, if I have governor's consent, it is through deed of assignment that you will know what you are getting from me as a seller to a buyer. Now let's go to governor's consent. When you have your C of O and you still have unexpired residue on this land, you don't need to apply for C of O anymore. You apply for governor's consent. Why? Is because you are trying to notify the governor that Mr. A is no more the owner of this land. The remaining 60 years out of his 90 years, out of his 99 years, has been transferred to me. So Mr. Governor, sign my deed of assignment and acknowledge me as the new landlord of this particular place. So people they will tell you, get me a land with governor's consent. Does it have governor's consent? Most people don't know the difference between all these documents, but they serve different purposes. So when the land is already under government's recognition from a party and you are buying off the entirety of the interest in that property in terms of years and value, then the governor will have to be the one to sign. That's why when you see a deed of assignment, you see the last part where they write honorable I think governor of so state, that will be signed. That's when you apply and you submit all the requisite documents. That place will be signed. Then that's why we now have a registered deed, which is the governor's consent on that particular land. So let's go to deed of lease, because most times people misuse the word tenancy and lease. So when you are taking a place or renting an apartment for a period of 3 years and above, you are entitled to lease agreement. There was a house I was staying some couple of years back, and when the lawyer sent me the agreement, he sent me lease agreement. And I told my landlord, I paid only 1 year. Which one is lease? I didn't sign it. I returned it back to him. But other tenants who are not really inclined, they signed and they dropped it, And there's a lot of confusion between the tenants and the landlord. And now let's say they default in paying rent and you want to charge them to court. You have buried yourself before you even die. Why? Is because you're coming to court with a lease agreement. The understanding of the law is that a lease agreement should carry a tenancy or an occupation that span beyond 3 years. But now, 1 year, you are bringing lease agreements. Court will never hear you. The moment you are filing it and they are presenting it in court, the other lawyer will be telling you that there's no cause of action before this court. And the court will look for the closest window, wrap your brief, and throw it out. So it is very important that we understand the differences between all these documents before we use them in this transaction, so that we won't be buried before we even die. Deed of lease. Why the word deed is in front of it is because when you are going into a lease agreement, you're supposed to pay a certain fee to the government. You have to register it. Because if you have a deed of lease with someone while occupying a property and you don't register it, if you go to court, court will not recognize that agreement. So it is very important when you are going into a deed of lease or a lease transaction in real estate, it is very important that you register your deed of lease. You pay a certain fee to the government, then government will acknowledge the lease. So now, registered survey plan. So a provisional survey plan, generally survey plan, is like a document exacting the position and a place where a land is. You have the coordinates, you have the size, you have the exact location. But the registered survey plan is the one recognized by the government where the land is situated. Let's say you have a land in Lagos. When you have a registered survey, meaning you've been able to register your interest on that land with the Surveyor General. That's when you have a record copy. They will come to that land, they will install beacons on the land, to put it on their system. Then whoever wants to verify your ownership on that land can go to Surveyor General and they will see it there as your land. Now let's move to excision and gazette. Excision. I'll give you a practical example for proper understanding. Let's say a family in Ibejuleki holds 75 acres of land under their name. And now government is interested in that land due to coastal road. They will approach the family, come, we want to have your land, 75 acres of land. Now, we can't take everything, we have to leave something for you because you are the owner as compensation. But I'll be, okay, let's negotiate. How many acres do you want to give us as the family? Give us 20 acres. Okay, no problem. We've agreed on 20 acres. We're going to take 55 from you. We'll leave 20 with you. The document is excision. Government taking out 20 to the family. That's why some family want to sell land to you. They'll tell you that we have gazettes. Gazette is the means by which the government communicates the fact that this family holds 75 acres, but now we have taken 55, we've handed 20 to them. But this particular document is not final because we are still going to go through all these documents one after the other to check the responsibility that comes with holding these documents. Don't because you have a C of O, you cannot go to bed. It can be taken away from you. But let's conclude on this excision and gazette. So now, the government will now tell you now, this place has been excised to you, you have your gazettes. You will now go to lands and go and submit documents and go and put in details to register yourself as the owner of that land. Do you get? The government can tell you that I've given you 20 acres. The government will still tell you that I've announced this, or I've given you, subject to you registering this land. You have to register the land. The fact that the government took 75 from you and they're giving you 20 does not mean it's free. No. They're only telling you that we've taken 55. Your 20 is still unregistered. Go to lands and go and perfect your documents so you can sell.
But if you're registering again, so what showed the government in the first place that land that doesn't belong to that family?
We have cultural ways of owning property. Do you get? First settler. There are some people that their grandfather have won so many wars and their compensation hectares of land. There are some people that they are the first settler. They go to that place and they see that there's nobody here, and they started giving birth. According to the Bible, go into the world and multiply. And they kept on multiplying. And before you know it, they are the owner of that land. And some people too, they use farming as their own style of acquisition. In those days when we are not even this many in this world, and there are so many lands, people go, they start farming, you farm as much as your capacity can take. Then after some times, you pass it down to your offsprings, then they pass it down. And before you know, they tell you that my great-granddad farmed on 50 hectares of land here and I've been in occupation. Then they use stone to measure land, throw it, wherever it gets to, that's your own portion. But it is now that things have been a bit modernized that you can now tell the family, go and get a surveyor to survey your land. See some survey plans, they're as big as this table. Coordinates everywhere. Do you get? So if you have a provisional survey to show and no one is contesting that land with you, you are the owner. Do you get? So if the government is saying that, okay, we are taking 25 from you, if nobody is coming to tell the government that, no, these people, they are not the owner. You have your pen with you. If nobody is contesting it with you, are you not the owner? You are the owner. So the government will now tell you that now go and register your interest. But most times family don't register it. They'll look for a real estate company, maybe Adbond. Oh yeah, come and buy our land. It is Adbond that will now go because they don't have the money for all that stress. And when you know most families, they're in dispute when it comes to land. So bringing them together to come and discuss. Now, if we're gotten at 20 acres, we need to pay 50 million for registration. They don't have time for all that. They want to sell that land, get their money, and move on with their life. So now, let's quickly run through the ones that have, some kind of obligations that come with them. Certificates of occupancy, when you have it, I don't know if you've seen a copy before, it comes with obligations. You have to pay your dues on the land, do a lot of things on the land, and when you fail to do them, some of them can be a grant for them to revoke that certificate of occupancy. So it's not automatic that I have CFO, let me now go and rest. Although the way Nigeria is, most of these things, people don't even do them, but they still, get away with it. But in a saner climate, where things are done properly, when you don't fulfill the obligations attached to your CFO, you'll be stripped of that property and, you can't even go to court. They won't listen to you because you have failed to meet up with the obligations. Deed of assignment, when it is registered, it becomes a registered deed, which is intertwining with governor's consent. Deed of lease, when you don't register it, you are just going around with a piece of paper. If disputes should arise and there's need for you to go to court, no court will listen to you because your agreement or your transaction is not known to the government. Registered survey plan, it has been saving faces since time immemorial. When you have it registered, government knows that, okay, you are the one in charge. And when you want to proceed to register your title, they will tell you submit your registered survey plan to show that this particular place is within the knowledge of the Surveyor General as your, property. Then excision and gazette, I think I've been able to, do justice to that. So let's move to the next one, which is the stages in real estate transaction. We have the pre-contract, we have the contract, and we have the post-contract. Now, under pre-contract, we have due diligence and verifying legal capacity. Due diligence, as it is, we see it as due diligence is like going to search to know if this land holds any form of encumbrance or whatsoever. But in real estate practice, I can tell you for free that due diligence is like the heart of every transaction. When you fail on due diligence, you are on the verge of throwing your money into a drainage where the money will never come back to you. It is the strength, it is the heart, it is like the major thing in real estate transaction. When the property is wrong, when the title is wrong, then you are in big trouble. And there are some wrongs that are not remediable. Let's say you are buying a land that has been marked for, let's say, military posts or military cantonment, and it was well packaged for you, and without doing your verification, you bought into this. Government does not owe you any explanation. They just bring their barracks and they start their work. They don't need to explain anything to you. Why? Is because every land in every state has been properly positioned on the master survey plan of every state for what it is going to be for. Different uses: commercial, industrial, agricultural, residential, and mixed. So if your land falls into maybe the ones that government wants to use for maybe hospital, cantonment, airport, canal, or power line, and you buy into it, if you buy into where there is power line, only power of God can get you out of that trouble. So due diligence goes beyond, let me send the document to the lawyer. Yes, we have a lot of lawyers, but not everybody is versed in real estate. They may not even know where to check to know. And most importantly, it is the kind of document that they give to you that will determine the extent of your search. Let's say a land that has a registered survey. Where is the first place to go to? Surveyor General. When the land has C of O, where do you approach? You go to lands to check if this document is in tandem with what they have on their system. If it is just deed of assignment, I will tell you, Oga, where is your survey plan? You can't be telling me stories in your deed of assignment and not show me a document that points into the exact location of that land for me to do my search. When a survey plan is not registered, what you need to do is to get the coordinates, then send it to lands. Let them see if that land is under acquisition or under the kind of plan that you have for that land. And sometimes when you want to buy land from individuals, they might have used that land to secure a loan in bank. That's one that most people don't even know how to search for. And normally in Nigeria, under CAC, when you're a company and you are getting a particular document for as a collateral, you are expected to register it on CAC. But because CAC is yet to get a grip on that area, most loans, most collaterals are not registered. So you may not even know, except you do a deep search before you know that this particular land, the title document, has been submitted as a collateral for a particular loan. And there are some lands too that are subject of disputes in court. To tell you that your due diligence goes beyond just going through the document, you have to search the court to know if there is court on this land. Because if you don't do all this due diligence and you buy this land, there's no problem. Go and get your wig and gown ready. I'm ready to appear on the next adjourned date. You are now a party to the court case. So due diligence, being the pre-contract stage, is the best time to cross all your I's, cross all your T's, and dot all your I's in real estate transaction. Now, verifying legal capacity. I believe in Nigeria, everybody thinks anybody can own a property, but no. In Nigeria, you can be below the age to own a property in Nigeria. I've had instances when a client bought property and they'll tell you the law, who is in my son's name. I know you are in a hurry to impress your ancestors that you've been able to buy land for your sons and daughters. But when they are 5 years, 6 years, they don't have the legal capacity to own property in Nigeria. You have to get to a legal age before you own property in Nigeria. Go and find out the age. So then we'll now move to, before the end of this class, I will ask anyone that's legal age to own property in Nigeria. Thank you. Now, the second one is contract stage. That is drafting and executing agreement. Now, we have two types of transactions in real estate. There are some transactions that come with, we're paying outrightly. Let's say the property is 200 million. The big man will come in his car, sign the check, exchange documents, and move. In that situation, you don't have to stress much. Just get your deed of assignments ready and all the accompanying documents and add it over to this person. But when it comes to payment in installments, pay in 36 months, pay in 42 months. These ones, you have to be more careful on this one. Why? Is because property is yet to pass until the payment has been made to the full. Now, let's say you have this property going for 100 million and you break the payments down into installments. Let's say 20 installments. At the point of paying the first installment, the executor will call a contract of sale. Meaning, we now have a contract on this land. Meaning, you as the seller, you don't have any rights to sell this property to someone else. Because we have a contract that you will sell to me at a particular price that has been divided into a certain number of equal installments. And when I'm done with that payment, you hand me my documents and I move. And why people do that, and which is even one of the smartest way to own real estate, is because when you start paying for property and you have your installments broken down into 24 months, the value you're paying to that company remains the same, while over that period of 2 years, the property value will have increased. So it's one of the smartest way to own real estate. But at this point, you need a contract of sale that is sufficient enough to carry all the details of that transaction. When you are paying your next installment, when you will be done, if there is delay, what are the balance we need to find just to make sure that the transaction does not fail. Contract of sale is a protection for both parties. You, the seller, you know that you can't sell this property. If you sell it, that is a breach of that agreement. There will be penalties. And you, as the buyer, you know that if I'm paying 100 million for this property, I'm paying for 2 years. You can't tell me that, after you paid your third installment, the president instructed that they should build one big prison in that area. Now the area is booming. It's now 200 million. Oga, when I was buying from you, there was no government development anywhere. And we agreed on the price. You can't come and start telling me that that's not my business. That is my own ROI. I keyed into it when you advertised to me, and I paid you, and we had a contract. So contracts of sale is like a shield to help both buyers and sellers live up to their expectations in real estate transactions. Now, post-contract, which is the fee payment, governance consent, and registration. That takes us back to C of O that we explained earlier on. That when you buy a property and this property does not have a title whatsoever, maybe you are buying from a community or a family, it is expected of you to approach the government so you can register your interest on this land as the owner. So even if the government should come, that this is your land, we like it, it's suitable for federal government poultry. You can tell the government, CEO, I've developed this land, look at my C of O. Then the government will compensate you. But when you don't have any document to show that it is yours, it may be hard for you or even impossible for you to get any compensation. That's why you see that they will demolish some houses and people will start crying. They've demolished our house. But when you ask them, where is their documents? We don't have any documents. The government has made it clear, and the laws have made it clear, that when you buy a property, you proceed to lands, register your title so the government can acknowledge you as the owner of this land. Governance consent, we've talked about that, Governance consent, when there is a C of O, submit your deed of assignment, your pictures, possibly survey plan, submit the picture if it is a house, if it is a land. They will inspect the land, do your assessment for you. They send you fees to pay. When you pay it, they stamp your deed, they hand it over to you. You are now recognized by the government as the owner of the land. Now to the next one, which is due diligence requirements. Title verification, encumbrance search, physical inspection, zoning planning check, then litigation check. To tell you how pivotal it is to, put due diligence on the list of priorities when you are trying to go into real estate transaction. Title verification. If it is CO, we have fake CFOs in Nigeria. Yes, I have fake CFOs. So when you see people boasting, I have CFO, send it. My land has CFO. That's why it is 4 billion. Send the CFO now. Let us see. Simply because for every CFO that you are holding, there is a copy of it in lands. If you like, there was a property I traced down to 1926. When we're trying to do record, they wanted to sell that property to a client, I think for around, 200 million or thereabout. So I said, okay, send what you have. And we trace it down to the first settler. Down. What those people did was, when Land Use Act came into being, and they know that area is strategic, they had to register it down to when it started. I would trace it down to 1926, and we saw that, okay, we saw it has been transferring down to when we wanted to buy it, and it was a good deal, and we bought. And there are some lands too that they will send you a particular document to go and verify, and they will tell you that not on shelf, no search, meaning that land has its own problem that will not make it qualify to be in where you can even search and find any details about the land or the property. So in that case, we just tell you no search, meaning don't go there. But if you are now stubborn, maybe your village people are so powerful and you have so much money that you want to negotiate with the devil, then you can buy. So when you buy and the trouble starts, then I can assure you the remaining balance you have that's making you pump up You spend it and you may not get the land. So due diligence is very, very important. Encumbran title verification is very, very crucial. Then encumbran search, that's when to know if this land, or maybe is a subject of dispute. Maybe we have two family members exchanging punches and some juju because of this land. You have to know. If it is collateral, you have to know. Then physical inspection. It is where people buy swamp and they start saying they've bought land. Physical inspection is crucial in land transaction. Go to the land, go and see. Land doesn't run. No matter how far the land is, you will get there. It's far, you will get there. You have the land, Abi. You will get there. Now enter car, let's go. You will get there. And I can assure you, the land that you see today as your land, when you come back in 10 years, is still in that same location. It will always be there. So physical inspection is very important to ascertain the state of that land. You know, when they tell you it's a complete dry land, you don't have to do anything, just go and start your foundation. Wait for rain now. Especially the one that even came this morning now, 3 a.m. down to 9. 6 hours straight. It's a dry land and we'll get there and enter car. So when you want to sell properties to your clients, try your possible best to make sure that, okay, you've seen the land, you know where it is, you look at the environment. Will it be fit for what my clients want? If it is for investment, if it is for instant development, you will know. And you can easily say that, okay, this is the particular land I sold to my client from here to here, here to here. Land doesn't run. Real estate is the only real thing that never runs, and you always see it. Even if the house should catch fire, the land will still remain. Maybe they want to do one demolition, they now demolish parts. You can't demolish land now. That is the greatest gift. And the sad thing about land is that they don't make more. It's the one that we have since the day of Adam that we've been occupying, we've been expanding. Even Elon Musk tried Mars, he came back. Do you get? So he was telling his friends, let us go and buy space in the moon. He came back. This is where you can easily, you don't have to spend billions to get to the earth. Let's two people just sleep together and give birth to you. You are here. Then when you plan your life well, you own a piece of it. You own a part of it, then you keep enjoying. Then zoning planning check. This is where the issue of commercial, agricultural, residential, industrial, or government acquisition comes in. When you want to check zoning, don't go and where they want to use, or maybe or showing by the expressway. They're now selling it to you. If you don't check, if you go and buy express road, I don't know if you want to, who you want to ask that one. No lawyer will take your brief. You are buying express, so you tell government to move their express from this to the other side. So zoning and planning check is very, very important. The litigation check to know if it's a subject of litigation in court is also crucial. Why is because you can't just buy into an ongoing case in court and it's a lot. So it's very important that you get a competent lawyer who can help you check all these places. Not everybody that can check, but get people. Have competent lawyers around you can always talk to, and they help you sort all these things. Now moving to common legal pitfalls. Everything is still tied to due diligence. To show you how important it is to do due diligence. That is the heart of the transaction, of any real estate transaction. I don't care where it is. Now, lack of governor's consent. Let's say someone who has had his CFO revoked. They won't tell you that they revoked it, and you intend to go and register your governor's consent. So when you get there, they will now tell you that this CFO is no more in existence. So how do you go about it? And there are some transactions that the governor may not have consented to, maybe due to fraud at the point of registering this governor's consent. You have to check all these things. We have all documents flying around that you have to be careful as a company or as an individual who wants to sell, this project. Now, buy disputed or family land. It is very common in real estate. Family A, my dad is the first, my mom is the first wife, your mom is the third wife, and they gave birth to 4 boys here, 4 girls here. Now, girls don't have rights in this family. It's only for the guys, disputes everywhere. These are the issues, in land transactions that we have to look out for at every point in time to make sure that we play safely in the real estate space. Then unregistered title. Be wary of investing your money into any property that has little or no title whatsoever. There was a client of mine who sent me an embarrassing request. He said he wanted to buy a property and there was no document at all. That they took him to the Baale of that area, and the Baale told him that, don't worry, buy this land. When you pay, your document will come out. I think the word he used was that they will fight for the document. So I was even checking my environment. Are we in Russia or Ukraine that we have to fight for documents? You can have as simple as provisional survey, as simple as registered survey, as simple as have some. They don't even have a deed. And I told him, if you love yourself, even the Bible is clear. Love your neighbor as yourself, not love your neighbor more than yourself. So in this case, maybe after a few conversations with this guy, you are now seeing them as your neighbor. You still have to love yourself like them, not them more than you. So I told him, don't flee from this transaction if you want your peace of mind. And at the end of the day, he was asking me what could possibly be the problem. And I told him that from my own experience so far, the problem will likely be that there is a dispute between the family or within the family over this land. Then a part of this family have the documents, while the other part does not have the documents. Now you are unlucky to find yourself on the part where they don't have the documents. So they want to use your money to settle the dispute in the family. And on that, you can't be sure if the issue will be settled or not. So I told him to move. Now, dealing with unauthorized persons, real estate transactions, we have the companies, we have the owner, and we have agents, we have lawyers, and we have a lot of people that are involved in real estate transactions. Now, if in a bid to save costs, and you choose to engage the services of people who have little or no competence in real estate transactions, you're likely to get your fingers burnt. So these are the pitfalls, in real estate. Unauthorized persons parading themselves as real estate experts, as consultants, giving unverified advice, advice that cannot be traced to any form of experience whatsoever. These are the issues. But as we all know, God will keep helping us. No legal or survey professionals involved. There are people that they want to buy property worth 400 million naira, but they are not willing to invest 5 million naira in the due diligence to be sure that what they are buying is safe or not. And I keep wondering, how were you able to raise this so much money and you think the security of that money is not important? It's actually a pitfall where people don't want to involve professionals in real estate transactions. And when things go south, they start looking for VDM. They start looking for Scott Iguma to submit documents to. And I'll be asking you, okay, is Scott Iguma a judge? Land transaction most times are civil transactions. When there are disputes, even in a deed of assignment, you have how you want to resolve your disputes in a deed of assignment. Most times, arbitration or go to court. But when you're handing your document over to people and you are using, Instagram has become the new lifestyle where, when you have any issue, you see some people crying that maybe someone died in their house and they are crying and you are showing me on Instagram. What do you want me to do? In these cases, people don't want to involve professionals who can help them, safeguard their investment in real estate. They rather wait for that evil to happen to them. They'll now be looking for who to run to, These are the pitfalls, but we know that with the right knowledge and education out there, you'll be able to, get things done the way they should be done and get the best results from real estate. So, role of key professionals in real estate. So, lawyers are very important in real estate transactions. We real estate practitioners, we lawyers in real estate, we have been able to help clients. Personally, these have been able to help clients save a little below 400 million over a transaction. A client wanted to buy property on the island. I think he saw that property for 55 million. I checked there, I said the last time we bought property at 46 million in this area was in 2018. And right now, property in this area, in Ekate right now, a 2-bed apartment, a good one will be going for as high as 220, 200, 180. So if they are selling one to you at 55 million, you should know that there is trouble waiting to happen. And the only way you can stop yourself from being a participant is by not buying. So it was like, no, let me just check now. I already saw that there's a problem. But it's like, okay, go and check here, send the document. When we sent it to land, they said, no file, no search. And I told him, senior man, I've come before you to tell you that this property, we cannot proceed. I was like, barrister, thank you. And I almost paid you. We will be telling you something, you don't want to listen. So roles of lawyers is to help you check the places that are necessary to make sure that the transaction goes in your way as the buyer, because you are the one that have a lot to lose. When you invest 500 million in a property and the money goes into the wrong hands and you want to start looking for them, so that you give 500 million. Don't be surprised that in the next 3 weeks you're already in Canada. Yes. So it's always very, very important that, we pay attention to what matters and see how we can involve professionals. And when it comes to lawyers in real estate, talk about drafting of necessary documents. I've seen where someone posted this deed of assignment and lease on Twitter. One document. I think deed of sublease and agreement. Deed of sublease and agreement and assignment, something. Luckily for him, he was rich enough to buy 2. And it was described in the same manner. And I was so surprised that, come on, you are lucky. You're able to find someone to draft 2 the same rubbish document for you, or deed of assignment and sublease. The thing was so confusing that even we lawyers on Twitter were like, come on, this guy must have paid 10K for this job. And he has gotten a great job, So every transaction has a document that can complement it. So advise your client to invest in the right set of professionals, most especially lawyers, to help you bring your deals home without issue. Now, surveyors. Surveyors are crucial. Yes, surveyors are crucial. Why? Is because when you talk about coordinates, the exact location of land and all that, surveyors are the best to work with, because there was a land that someone wanted to sell. He showed us the land. Send us the survey plan. Let us verify. When he sent the survey plan is different from what he showed us. And how will you know that if you don't involve professionals vis-a-vis surveyors, in this kind of transaction? So it's very important that, we carry surveyors along to know when it comes to land. But when it comes to building, you can now bring maybe construction engineers to come and ascertain the quality of the whole building itself before you put your money into it. Then town planners and compliance. You can't build your estate on a land that has been planned for maybe industrial land, and you put your estate there. If they come for you, you don't have any choice. You may be lucky that it is remediable. Maybe government still has another land somewhere that they can use for that purpose. They will just tell you to make certain payment, then just to avoid people becoming homeless suddenly. But it's crucial that when it comes to estates, as a real estate company, you have to make sure that town planners are with you so as to help you see if your project is fit in this kind of area or environment. Then agents. Agents now. I know almost everybody here has 1 or 2 stories to tell. If I say that, let's start talking about agents now. This is 12 by 4. We are still here. They've used people's eye to see shaggy. But the sad thing is their necessary evil. You can't do without agent. Why? Is because if you don't have an agent, how will you know that this particular property is available for sale or for rent? So there's no way you can't do without agents. Or will you leave your work and start knocking on every door? Good afternoon. Please, is there, not even in this Lagos, they will arrest you. But I'm happy with what Lagos State is doing right now. They're trying to regulate it to make sure that people that will serve as agents in transactions are registered. So they can know that, okay, if it is Angel Said that is messing you up, we know how to get him, which is a good one. And agents are very, very important. I won't lie to you. And there are some agents that's in Lagos. They know some areas to understand that even the king of that particular area does not know that area more than the agent. The agents, they will tell you that, what kind of house are you looking for? How many are you? Family of 5. Don't worry, I have one house for you. They will first of all take you to the deadliest parts of that area. Then when you tell them that, come on, I don't want to, okay, but you add to your money. Oh yeah, let's go have another one. Do you get? It's always exhausting, but I don't think you can do without them. So those are the 4, key professionals that you have to involve in your real estate transactions. Then to the next one, legal documentation. If you have an unfinished real estate transaction, contract of sale agreement, deed of assignment to when it is outright, C of O, you can register. Then power of attorney. This one is a document that is handed or a document executed between 2 parties, the donor and the donee, handing rights and powers and authority to another party to sell a particular property on your behalf. There are some houses that we have that the owners don't want to be seen. When you call them, they just tell you, talk to my lawyer. They will tell you, I want to sell my house, but you can even be in Canada. All he needs to do is to execute a power of attorney for you to help me and sell this property, and they will sign it. Then when you have it as a lawyer, so when you call him and tell you, go and look for my lawyer, don't talk to me. They'll come and meet you as a lawyer or as an agent. Although people hardly give agents power of attorney anyways. They like to deal with lawyers on areas like this, because now just give any agent your power of attorney. Anything can happen, So they give it to lawyers. Then when you meet lawyers, they will show you that, okay, I have a right to sell this property. There was a transaction I did in Benin, I think 2-3 years ago. The woman, she's in Lagos. She has a property in Benin, but she cannot go to Benin. She doesn't have the strength. She's old. And I went to her house. We sat, we discussed. We did power of attorney. She gave it to me. And I was the one overseeing the whole transaction negotiations and all that. And when it was time to pay, I traveled to Benin. I met with them. I said, it's not my name, see power of attorney. Don't stress me. I showed them, they saw it, and we agreed. I will make payment, and everybody left. So that is the importance of power of attorney. It takes stress off a property owner if he doesn't want to go through the stress of, just tell the lawyer, I'm selling for 100 million. So when you are coming to tell them that, there's someone that is bringing 70, you are beginning to sound foolish. Someone is telling you 100 million, you are coming with 70 offer. Except they tell you that you can come with any offer available. So power of attorney. Then governor's consent, receipt of purchase. This is also very, very important. And what we do most times is, after having the deed of assignment typed out, we now type the receipt of purchase, where the seller will acknowledge receiving a certain sum as the full and final payment for a particular property that will be properly described in the receipt as well, just for evidence of payment. I think we're clear on that. Then dispute resolution mechanism. So here we have litigation, we have ADR, arbitration, mediation, and negotiations. Most times in Nigeria, when there are disputes over land in Nigeria, the first move is negotiations. If it is a large piece of land, even if you want to approach the court, they may tell you, try and settle it out of court and see how it goes. Parties will come together. How many is this land? 700 acres of land. Okay, it's my father that owns 500. It's your mother that owns 100. Okay, at this point now, what should we do? Then parties can negotiate, find a balance, and shake hands and move. I always come to mediation too. They can come together, represent, in different capacities and parties, and they will call a neutral person who will come and sit in the middle. What do you have to say? What do you have to say? Oh yeah, let's mediate. What is best for both parties? Same as arbitration. These are alternative dispute resolution. That is ADR, alternative dispute resolution. Come together, see how we can find a balance without having to stress my lord in court. And when they see that, come on, this battle is beyond me as an arbitrator or as a mediator, I will tell you, see, Oga, pack yourself, go and find a lawyer and go to court. Go and drag it there. Then I can tell you for free in court, you only know when you start, but you won't know when you end. I can promise you that. They can even sack you from your workplace by the time you are going to court almost every now and then. So I advise people that safety is the best bet when you want to do real estate. Make sure you avoid the troubles that can. Real estate is very, very good, very, very sweet, lovely. You buy property, you resell, you make money. But when the trouble lands on you, it will just be like poverty attacking you in the middle of the night when you're sleeping. The trouble will come that's, come on, you won't be able to sleep. So these are the disputes, resolution mechanisms that we have. And at the end of the day, I will still preach that, come on, when you're doing your real estate, make sure you're smart and safe with it to avoid, the troubles that come with it. So recent trends and reforms, the issues that we have and the pitfalls that we have in real estate transactions, they are issues that have been, taken notice of by the state government, thereby, pumping them up and getting them ready to put some things in place to see how we can manage the chaos and the troubles in real estate. We have land registry digitization, We are looking at a way where instead of you going to land to go and apply to see whether this land has encumbrance, there will be a digitization where you can easily go on a website or your phone, or maybe just go to an app and search, and you will see everything you want to know about this land, But here in Nigeria, we are still manual in that area where you still have to write. If you want to do search now, we have to type it on the letterhead, sign it, put all the information, then send it to lands. They will now look through it before, This takes time, and there are some clients that when they want to buy a property, the moment they see it and they like it, only Lucifer can convince them that they should go buy that property. They don't have time for, let's wait and search all these things. They don't want. Because they know that if that money should stay with them longer than that, anything can happen. And they want to buy. So this is where we should look at a way of, a more seamless way of verification, where you won't have to engage so many hands before you ascertain the correctness or otherwise of what you're investing in. Then tech use in title verification, I think I just talked about that. Then land use reform calls. Yes, this one is a bit sensitive because me personally, I have my own personal opinion on this land use act and what it has been doing to us in real estate in Nigeria. But because the camera is on now and I don't know where they're going to play it, so leave this one for now. Land use act, hopefully by the time they do some reforms, it will really match what it's supposed to do. Then LASERA and state regulations. In Lagos State, we have so many bodies in charge of building. When you want to develop a property, as you are putting your first block, one e-locks can just park, boom. We are here to ascertain the level of your foundation, whether it is deep enough and all. Those ones we go. By the time you get to maybe window level, another one will come. We are the department in charge of window and this thing. We want to know whether your window is good and all that. The moment you want to roof, another one will come. You want to see whether what you are using is in line with cloud warming or system, Okay. So, a lot of regulations, trying to make sure that things are done properly. On the island now, you can just buy a house and maybe sometimes tell you that the house has rain fell and the house is, So they are trying to check the integrity of the building and others, which are, very good, but we still need to do more to enjoy the full benefit of real estate without being scared of the fraud and some kind of shady activities that come with it. So case studies, real estate world examples, I think I've been able to give a good number of them in the course of this insight. Fraudulent sales, people sell lands to one or two people. If you're not careful and you fall into that pit, then you may not be able to sing that song that, who dig this pit for me, or I will not fall inside. Then family land dispute case, there are a lot of families, with disputes and all that. And when you want to sell a family land, there's one thing that you can do. Make sure that the head of the family, for every family, I believe there is hierarchy. You have the head of family, you have the secretary, you have, most of them I always insist that they should add the youth leader. Why is because the family, they usually die very quick. But see that youth leader, they don't die easily. They are the ones that you always have this long life. And when you have the troublesome one among them, come on, they will tell you that, it was our father that sold now. We don't know anything. But I will tell you, ask the head of the family, ask the treasurer who will collect the money, ask the secretary who will have the minute of meeting. then get me the youth leader. Get him to come and sit down. Let him participate in the negotiation process. So they won't come back and tell you that my forefather sold it for 2 million. It's because I was not in the meeting. It was supposed to be 5 million. Now you pay us balance. But at that point, when you want to make that payment and they are part of the transaction, it is always very helpful. You know, they come in, put their signature, they know what is going on, and even if they choose not to die after 100 years, you are still covered by their signatures. So you can do that on a successful title registration in Lagos. If your title is right, your land is not under acquisition, it's not under any collateral whatsoever, you can easily register your title. Get lawyers, submit some couple of documents, fill particular form 1C, another submit passports, register survey, write your letter, the picture and all, then you get your title registered. So recommendations always involve professionals, the lawyers, the surveyors, your agents, and a couple of them depending on what you're trying to buy. Conduct due diligence. It still boils down on the kind of professionals you choose to engage. But due diligence is the heart of every real estate transaction. And when you fail as due diligence, your investment has failed on arrival. Then demand all relevant documents. What we do here will tell you, I want to buy this property. Send me everything they might have sent to you. They sent me one receipt like that. It's like 1913. Send it. All relevant documents. Reason being that some people may sell their properties to you, hand you some documents, and hold some back. Then they can now want to attempt to resell that same property to another person, relying on just one document. But when you request for all the documents and they hand it over to you, and as much as you are safe from them reselling it, you've saved another party who they may likely want to resell to. So it's very crucial that you take all the relevant documents to save yourself from stories that touch. Then avoid cash only deals. Yes, some people will tell you that your property is 50 million, let me pay you cash. You will explain tire. There will be no evidence. Why? Is because if they pay you in cash and something happens, how do you prove that? So transfer is to this OPay or Money Point or anyone that you think you have. OPay is like the most popular bank account right now. Tell them to transfer so there can be evidence of payment. And aside that, for security reasons, the buyer can come to you and say that they will give money in cash and send people to come and collect the money later from you. For safety reasons, get your money in a documentable, in a sense like documentable, such a way that you can document for. So keep records and receipts. When you accept cash, how do you keep receipts? It will be hard. But when you pay in form of transfer, some other electronic means of transferring money to one party to the other, then easily you can have a record of payment. Even if at the point of sending it is not showing, you have a statement of accounts now to show that so deal, I paid 50 million to Mr. ABC for 54 acres of land in Ogumosho Road in Ogun State, wherever the land may be. Conclusion. Legal key steps, we have the pre-contract, the contract, and post-contract. Due diligence involving professionals and all that. Then contract, putting pen to paper on the state of the transaction, outright payment or payment in installments. The remedies, the penalties for whoever fails to honor his own part of the bargain. Then emphasis on compliance. You have to comply to avoid stories that touch. If you are handed a C of O and you fail to live in line with the obligations that come with the C of O, they can revoke it. And you only have yourself to blame. Then if you buy a property that has a C of O2, it is expected of you to go and do your governor's consent, to tell someone that you are now the owner, or to tell Ogun State Governor, please, what's that his name again? Mr. Dakpo Abiodun, that you are or Benny, that you are now the new landlord. Compliance is very key in real estate because it helps. There are people that their property got demolished, and because they have C of O, they're able to get compensation. Why? Is because by having C of O or governor's consent, you must have paid assessment fee to the government on that property. Meaning the government is aware that you are the owner of this property. So when you have failed on your own part to acknowledge the government on their fees and registrations, and when it's time for you to ask for anything in form of compensation, nobody will give you any listening here because you don't have any agreement with them. So I think we're in the question and answer time. If you have any question, you can ask now. So any question?